One Sega classic game that everyone can recognise is Outrun. The image of the convertible Ferrari, which is a Testarossa Spider, and bright, colourful track and background is synonymous. Sega entered the video games industry way back in 1965 and began importing slot machines and jukeboxes, but quickly began developing arcade games in 1966. In the early 80s, Sega began to develop consoles in response to a downturn in the arcade market. The most memorable Sega arcade games for me are Hang On, Space Harrier, Wonder Boy, Outrun, Shinobi, Altered Beast, and Golden Axe. These machines all arrived in 1985 and 1986. Therefore, my memories of these games all come from the home releases of these titles on the Sega Mega Drive. Outrun the original is a superb arcade game which pioneered graphics, sound, and movement to make a fully enthralling experience. The game itself also had a non-linear experience where you could take different routes and also had a selectable soundtrack. Rather than racing other opponents, you were essentially avoiding traffic, putting the emphasis on the driving. The designer was Sega legend Yuri Suzuki, who pushed the limits of 2D, making games almost feel 3D. The composer was Harushi Kawaguchi, again a legendary composer. The original concept was based on the successful Cannonball Run film. Suzuki decided that America was too large and empty for the game's design and scouted Europe for 2 weeks. While in Monaco, he was inspired to have the Ferrari Testarossa as the playable car. Suzuki states that designs were 3D from the very beginning, and he achieved this using a sprite scaling technique called the superscaler technology. The Outrun soundtrack is standout, with my favourite being Musical Sound Shower. The game has been ported to at least 18 different home systems and was a phenomenal success. For me, all of the follow-ups to this original have paled in comparison until Outrun Coast to Coast, or Outrun 2, in the arcade came to be. We shall be talking about Outrun 2006 Coast to Coast, which sees a release on the PS2, PSP, Xbox consoles, as well as a Windows for PC conversion. This game is a must-play in my eyes. It brings an updated reimagining of the original game with a new engine and modern graphics. This game includes the arcade Outrun 2 and 2 SP experiences and a coast-to-coast mode, including single-player campaign with races and challenges. Unfortunately, multiplayer is only capable through a local network, but there is plenty to enjoy regardless. As you can see from gameplay footage, the visuals are stunning and the arcade style and brand new drift mechanic are so exhilarating to use. All music is completely rearranged and they have never sounded better. Also, the original 1986 versions are unlockable. I can't recommend this version of the game enough. Well worth the price of a physical copy and well worth chucking a few pounds in if you see an arcade machine out in the wild. I will always have fond memories of playing this game with my closest buds on my stag do in an arcade bar in Manchester. I discovered this game only rather recently thanks to my retrospective game collecting and interest. It was a time when I was completely fed up with ultra-realistic and complicated modern driving, sim and racing games. The early days of the PS4 in particular completely let me down in the arcade racing style of games, and I began to pine for the good old days of Burnout, Micro Machines, Mario Kart, Road Rash, just fun games. Anyway, this game deserves both mine and your attention, so if you get a chance to give it a go, do so. It has certainly been one of many superb games that I've discovered on my fun journey of video games from the past. I hope you enjoyed my content and keep an eye out for more in the future. So for now, I'm going to make like a tree and get out of here.